Ann Coulter spoke at a Donald Trump rally, and she ranted about speech Nazis.
How about anvil babies? Because that's what anchor babies are around the necks of the American taxpayer. The Republican Party's typical position is to preemptively surrender whenever liberals start yelling, "Ooh, that's mean, you can't use that word." Oh, I did her baby. And now Americans are finding out about not only the policy of anchor babies, but the policies of these speech Nazis. And they're going to learn when it comes to Donald Trump, maybe they better just keep their mouths shut next time.
Hilarious. And you're missing it. It's not that we dislike you and Donald Trump because you're un-PC and you're straight shooters telling it like it is and it's uncomfortable truths that we can't take. No, we dislike you because you say things that are false. You say things that are ridiculous. Now, I've spoken about it before and I'll continue to speak about it. Is there a problem with speech Nazis, PC police, whatever the fuck you want to call them? Absolutely. You go look in the SecularTalk archives and you won't find a single segment I did discussing joke outrage where I'm not slamming the people who are outraged. You get a total pass in my book when it comes to comedy. When people try to make it, super political and act like this is some serious thing if somebody makes an off-color joke about race or sex or religion or whatever the case is, I'm always defending the comedian and I'm always saying, yes, your people are being too PC here. Tone it down a little bit. But that's not what this is about, Ann. This is about bad ideas. So when Donald Trump goes out there and he says, well, Mexicans, rapists, what are you going to do? It's not that it's like, ooh, there's some truth that's hard to take. No, that's fucking not true, and it has dangerous consequences if people believe it and then act on it. Like, for example, there was a recent story in the news about how two white dudes decided to beat up and I think piss on an immigrant or something like that, piss on some Hispanic guy. And as they were doing it, they were like, Donald Trump is right. And then they told Trump about it and he's like, oh, look, these guys just want America to be a good country again. Are you fucking serious, dude? So that's the downside of this. He says things that are not true, which dehumanize people, and then there are real-world consequences where people take that to its logical conclusion and they act off of it. So that's what we object to. And then also, let me just get another fact out there. I know Ann Coulter is not well-versed in these things, but the idea that, immigrants are just bad for taxpayers. Get rid of the immigrants, Ann, and let me see how that works. So they did this in some places. You guys know this story, right? I mean, we discussed it. It was on a brilliant Vice piece about it on HBO. I think it was in Alabama, where they quite literally rounded up all the undocumented immigrants and shipped them the fuck out. And you know what happened? In a short amount of time, they were begging for them back. Because what's the argument everybody makes? Well, if you get rid of the undocumented immigrants, unemployed white people, unemployed black people will step up and do the work. Didn't happen. And the few that did show up, eventually they left. They're like, fuck, I can't do this shit, man. So they were begging for undocumented immigrants to come back. If you get rid of 11 million plus undocumented immigrants, the economy will fucking collapse. And you do know they don't get most entitlements, right, Ann? Oh, these undocumented immigrants are terrible for the American taxpayer, let me tell you. What the fuck are you talking? You make it seem like they can go to a government office and say, I would like welfare now, please. They can't do that. You want to know why they can't do that? They're undocumented. You need to be a citizen to get those things, you idiot. You legendary idiot. The only thing that they could really get is, if they get hurt while doing backbreaking work and they go to the hospital, yes, taxpayers have to pay for that. And they're technically still charged for it, but a lot of times they don't pay and the taxpayers will have to pay for that. And, if you're going to argue against that, then just call it what it is. Just say, hey, I'm a supposed Christian, but I disagree with Jesus on everything, and I would rather somebody get hurt and not get help, and I don't give a fuck. I don't want to pay for it. I don't like them because they're brown skin and they're poorer than me, and fuck them. Fuck them. Okay, well then admit that and don't go around calling yourself a Christian, or at least say, I'm a prick Christian that disagrees with Jesus. So it's one or the other, and you can't have it both ways. And the reality is, this is the idea that, well, they're just leeches, they're moochers, they're parasites, they're lazy. That's what these undocumented immigrants are. Nothing can be further from the truth. And it's not that I'm offended by you saying the opposite. It's that I'm pointing out that when you say the opposite, you are factually incorrect.